Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. We're back in the mountains. Can I just say, before getting into this match reaction, Everton won, Roma won. Please fire that cameraman. What was going on in his head? I mean, I only saw one half of the pitch. I had to imagine the other half. And then all of a sudden, the sunlight started to appear on my screen as if God was calling from paradise. It was like reading an optical illusion book. I have a headache after watching that game. But let's speak about it. Everton won, Roma won, last friendly game of the season done. From now on, we have to start preparing for the big games, for the games which count, for the games which mean something. League games, Europa League games in a bit, and Coppa Italia games in January they start. Last game, probably the hardest game, seeing the quality of Everton. Not that Everton are a massive team in England, not that Everton are the best team that this team has ever faced, but out of all the friendly games, then I feel like this was the real test. I also feel like Olympiacos wasn't bad, but I feel like, considering also the fact that it was in a packed stadium, packed Goodison Park, passionate fan base, passionate ground, away fans were there. Just getting that vibe and that feeling of getting back playing in a stadium, I think, is important with 1 week to go. And then Everton got quality. You know, I always say, I think it was a good game because Everton and any other English side have good rhythms. So it's good to prepare because the intensity has to be high whenever you face an English team. This doesn't mean that English teams are the best out there. But English teams have got this written in this book, in their book of law of football, that they got to go fast. But then on the other side, counter-attacking this, you've got Daesh ball, which kind of limits the creativity on Roma, and it makes you want to push harder because they defend really well. Because Daesh ball is prehistoric football, it kind of forces you to, you kind of need to play well if you want to beat Everton under Sean Dyche. So yeah, it was a good friendly game. I think it was a good last test to end, and now we've got 8 days to go until our first game of the season, which is Cagliari away. A few things to take away from this game in this little match reaction. I want to start off with Dovbyk. Because please have the decency, if you were about to write in the comments of this video, oh my god, Dovbyk overrated, one season wonder, he bottled 2 chances, please have the decency to stop writing that right now. It's his first ever game starting for this team. It's his first few days training in England with the team and training overall, because he did not fly with the team to England immediately because he had some visa problems, as well as Shimorodov. So he reached England 3 days ago. Please understand that football isn't Monopoly. It's not that easy. It takes a bit for the chemistry to lock in. On the other hand, Dovbyk, incredible movements. That is what the striker needs to do. He knows how to move. You know, being clinical, scoring goals, and getting that feeling in front of the goalkeeper will come if his movements are these. Because with Soule, Pellegrini, and Dybala behind him, Baldanzi behind him, these players are going to serve him well. So what I'm here to say is, and I'm going to say this many times this season, because Dovbyk is a Jekyll type striker in the sense that he's there to score goals, but it's not only the goals that you judge, it's the way he moves, it's the way he changes the equilibrium of the team. And I think he did that really well today. And then, of course, Soule, incredible player, assists to Pellegrini, scores a goal. Everton's defence was a bit wobbly. So was our defence when they scored a goal. Yeah, these are the 2 goals I think were inevitable for both teams. I think our goal was even more inevitable than them. I think Ndika had a little bit of a lost moment there when he lost Calvert-Lewin and then he scored the goal. But great ball from Soule. I mean, Soule is so fun to watch. Soule is, incredibly technically gifted. I'm actually here to say that I've been more impressed with Soule coming and being a new signing in these last 2 friendly games than I have been with Dybala in all of these friendly games. Dybala's this. Dybala doesn't need friendly games to warm up. Dybala is so gifted in terms of, talent that Dybala doesn't need to train. It's just whenever he feels like juggling the ball around the pitch, he does that perfectly. Dybala had the wedding. So, yeah, it wasn't the top of the tops of preseason for Dybala. But, he had his contributions. He scored that penalty against Latina. Let's say he scored a goal, but anybody could have scored a penalty against that team. Yeah, I've been really impressed by Soule. And I've also really been impressed by Le Fée. And this is my third point. Watching this game from minute 1 to minute 90 and having watched the last game against Barnsley and a full 60 minutes against Olympiacos, I'm here to say about Le Fée, he is going to be the pivot of this team. Like, he plays in such a critical position that, in my opinion, he's got the most important role. And it's up to him if this team kind of makes that step up. Because on paper, Le Fée has got everything that Roma needs in the middle. Speed and technique. Problem is, I get the impression that he's not a consistent player. And I've said this already, I get the impression it's normal because it's a start, but he needs to get this fear of risking away from him. He needs to risk. He needs to be less shy. And if he adds consistency to everything, Le Fée is going to be the revolution position of this team. Le Fée plays in the position that Roma needed to reinforce in. And I think they also need another midfielder, because I'm going to get into this as my last point of this game. But what I'll say here is a lot of how De Rossi wants to play circles around Le Fée. Because if Le Fée in some games doesn't work out, Soule and Dybala and Dovbyk won't work out. It's that key position, it's trying to unlock that position that if he plays well, the rest of the team plays well, because he moves a lot. And by moving a lot, all of the other players move a lot around him as well. So I think Le Fée's got a very, very important position. I hope that the contributions are going to be there, goals and assists. Considering the pattern of goals and assists and contributions in these friendly games, then, he scored a few goals, provided a few assists. Of course, we have to see him in some big games, pro games. But yeah, I think his position is massively important. And then the last drawback, which I'm gonna, thing to consider, which is a bit of a drawback from this game, we need another midfielder. We need to cover and add another two to that midfield. Because I have come to the conclusion, it's friendly games, don't judge yourself on friendly games. But whenever Cristante faces a fast player, he is screwed. There was an action that Ndiaye from Everton did. Fast player. He moved around that pitch. Cristante was 30 minutes behind. 30 minutes delayed. And you can't afford that, because the Serie A is becoming, it's a slow league, but it's becoming more and more of a fast league with how managers want to play. And in Europe, you're going to face fast teams, fast players who don't take ages to turn around and start an action. Cristante isn't good at marking those players. We need another midfielder who can start ahead of Cristante, who's fast. It's the most important thing that we need, characteristics-wise, from our new midfielder, speed. Because you need to match somebody. You need a mix between Le Fée and Paredes for our new midfielder. Because you need somebody like Paredes who gets balls, steals balls, tackles. And you need somebody like Le Fée who's a bit of a box-to-box. But intertwine the two, add speed. That is the identikit of a midfielder that Roma needs. They need somebody who's fast. Otherwise, we're screwed. Because Cristante is so slow. And being so slow, he is so prone to players moving around him so fast. And it's been the problem for the past seasons. We've stuck with Cristante because the alternatives weren't that good. The alternatives now need to step up. We need to have better alternatives. Because, frankly speaking, at time of speaking, I think the starting midfield duo is Pellegrini, Le Fée and Paredes. Cristante's out of De Rossi's system at time of speaking. Season is long, injuries are there, so Cristante can easily get back into the route of things, which is why, by adding another midfielder, adding on to Bove, which hopefully we'll keep, and Pizzilli, who's emerging, you've got a good selection of players that you can pick from if one of these players, also known as Cristante, doesn't perform and just leads to so many goals. He's slow. He's too slow. Some games, whenever you face a slow team, Cristante is perfect because he doesn't need to run and he's good at setting the play. He's good at, those launching the ball, changing side. Cristante is good at that. But whenever you face a fast team, high intensity, high rhythms, Cristante is fucked, which is why you need somebody else which can come in and budge him away. Le Fée, yes, but you need another one. So this kind of leads me onto the transfer market. Assignon, apparently right back. I'm going to make a video on this. We've got a few positions to cover. The season starts in 8 days. I've said it already. I don't think you need world-class players, and I don't think you don't need to massively reinforce the team to win against Cagliari and Empoli. I think we can win against Cagliari and Empoli with the current team, with Cristante and Cilic starting. But game week 3 is Juventus, and Cagliari away is a tough game. So, you see, what I'm trying to say here is great transfer window, a bit delayed but great. Be patient. Don't judge players. Don't judge a book by its cover. Be patient with Dovbyk. Be patient with Soule. Please be patient. The goals are going to come from Dovbyk. Patience. Don't burn him like we did with Tammy. Don't burn him immediately. Give him time. But yeah, we're still incomplete. And hopefully we can add quality. So that's my match reaction. Everton won. Roma won. Last friendly game of the season. Now back in Rome. Back under the heat. Last 7 days of preparation before the start of the league. Let me know your thoughts, your little match reactions down below. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Simo out.